Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is October 11, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 169 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm gonna mention, as I mention in every video, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USAS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. Speaking of the visa bulletin, the brand new November 2023 visa bulletin is out. I have made a video on it. It's uploaded on this channel. If you have not seen it yet, make sure to check it out. So let's start with the very first question, comment from Bachi, Nicaragua. I have parole humanitarian. I'm from Nicaragua. Can I submit the 539 before my parole ends in 2025? Okay, so it depends. Bachi, thank you for asking the question. It really depends on, I'm assuming you have the TPS, so temporary protected status. I think that's what you're referring to, parole, humanitarian parole. But correct me if I'm wrong. And it really depends on what you're trying to change your status to. In most of the situations, I mean, it should be pretty straightforward. And yes, you can file the I-539 and, depending on what kind of status it is, keep in mind it's for non-immigrant status. So let's say if you're changing, for example, let's say you became a student, right? And you want to change your status to F1. Yep, absolutely. In that situation, you are filing the form I-539, and it should be a pretty straightforward process as well. So correct me if I got something wrong, and give me the details on what you're trying to change it to, and I will address your question with a little bit more details as well. So let me post my response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one. Rick Newton says, thank you, Rick, you're very welcome. Thank you for watching. Glad this was helpful. Moving further to where is Ezra 5825. Hey, thanks. What if I did not have anything in, never used USPS? I should register there or just update USCID? So I'm assuming it's USCIS. Okay, so where's Ezra? Thank you for asking this question. It's a great question. So whenever it comes to the USPS, because it's the government, whatever sponsored postal service, basically US Postal Service, that's what it is. And all the correspondence that is sent by USCIS is sent through the USPS, okay? So the purpose of updating your address with USPS and letting them know that you have moved is to make sure that that correspondence that was already sent or will be sent in the near future, if it was sent, if it's on the way, it doesn't really matter, something in between, is forwarded, because that's what they have. They have this service, and it's only like $1 or something. It's really cheap, but it's a forwarding service. So basically what it is when, let's say, USAS sends you a biometric appointment notice, right, in the mail, and you already moved, you no longer live in the old address, and they sent it to the old address. What USPS does is, when they see that forwarding service enabled in their system, they automatically redirect it from the old address to your new address. So all the existing stuff that is on the way or was sent, it will go to the correct address. And that's really the main point of updating the address with USPS. But whenever it comes to the USCIS, yes, absolutely, you have to update that as well. So yeah, absolutely, I would recommend updating both, just to be on the safe side, so that the correspondence that you have that is already on the way, it comes to the correct address. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Idaridar 9885. I'm on F1 visa, second semester. Can I create a Shopify and start selling t-shirts in the USA and accept payments on my USA bank account? I don't have SSN and I am an international student. Idaridar, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. So, I mean, listen, whenever it comes to starting business, the most important part is to start, right? If once you start making the income, right, from this, once you start making the money, it's coming into your bank account, absolutely, it's made in the US, so it is taxable income. So you will have to file taxes, right? technically you can't have any income because you don't have a valid social security number. All right. But here's a cool thing is that because it's a business and nature of any business, as you started, it takes slow. So, the first few months you might not have any income or have very little income. I think it is the $600 if I remember correctly. That is the minimum income that needs to be showed to the IRS. So if you're making less than $600 a year from your business, you don't have to file the taxes on it, right? I think it is $600, but I would recommend doing the research on that because that's from the IRS, not really immigration related. I think it was $600. But so to answer your question, all right, you do have to file taxes on it, all right? And technically you're not supposed to have income without a social security number. But at the same time, I don't want you to discourage from starting a business. I would say go ahead and start this business and keep working on it. If you end up, selling faster and the business, developing faster than you expected, then you can always file these, this income and pay taxes on it in the next year. All right, once you do have all your social security and all that stuff, because eventually you will. You're in F1. It's only a matter of time once you get your immigrant visa, come to the United States, being a permanent resident, then you will have your social security and all of that sort of stuff, so you can sort this out. But instead of waiting to start a business once that happens, I would definitely recommend starting it now, working on it, developing it, and by the time you come here, you already have some kind of foundation, and all of that income and paying the taxes and making it basically the right way in the eyes of IRS. You can sort all of that out without any problems later on when you come here and when you have your social security number. Okay, so let me post a response here and we're gonna move on to the next one from Merly and Carla Garcia Ramos. My attorney filed an appeal within the 30-day deadline. Okay, and it was recently denied. Sorry about that. And now they want to charge me an additional $4,000 to appeal again. Is this even right? I'm still paying the last appeal. Are they supposed to charge every single appeal? I don't feel this is right. Honestly, it doesn't sound right to me at all. But what was the reason for the denial of the appeal? Okay, I would look into that because if it is something that is within, let's say, for example, appeal was sent, some document was missing from the appeal, or some kind of information was missing from the appeal, or something in the appeal wasn't right, that's why it was denied. In that case, I would definitely tell the attorney, be like, that's your fault. You didn't file it right. That's why it was denied. Now, it's a little bit more complicated situation if the denial was outside of your attorney's control. If the appeal was filed correctly, if all the information was there, and it was just not good enough. In that case, you probably might ask yourself a question. I still think it's not right to charge $4,000. I mean, whenever it comes to filing an appeal, really, it's just a package of documents. But whatever, we're not going to get into the pricing of immigration attorneys. Some of them are outrageous, and in your case, that seems to be the case. Trust me, I was there, and I was dealing with a similar issue. But if it is outside of your attorney's control, you might wonder really if there's a point to what's the point of filing another appeal. This is really the problem that I'm having, right, with this, is that if it is outside of your attorney's control, then why are they even offering you to file the second appeal? If the first one did not work, if they did it right, if everything was provided to the Board of Immigration Appeals and it was still denied, what is the point of filing another appeal? Now, if the first appeal was denied because something, like I said, something was not done right, something wasn't added, something was missing, whatever, or not on time. Yes, absolutely. In that situation, there doesn't make sense to file another appeal, but it should be free because it was your attorney's fault that it was denied. So I would look a little bit closer into that situation and check on the reason for the denial. Make sure you know exactly why it was denied, and then make your decision based on that. In both situations, it doesn't seem right. If it's attorney's fault, you shouldn't be paying. If it is not attorney's fault, then I don't know why it's even on the table. Why is that an option to file another appeal? If the first one was done right and it was denied, what's the point of filing another one? So yeah, I would definitely look into that situation. And if you can, please come back to the channel and let me know in a separate comment what was the reason for the denial, because I definitely am interested to know what exactly happened. And also would be helpful to know what case it was, because it's a little bit tricky whenever it comes to having an attorney, because they're supposed to represent you, they're supposed to kind of guide you through the process, and a lot of times they guide you into not a very good place, unfortunately. And it happened to me. Like I said, I know how that feels. It sucks, unfortunately. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Catherine Aldana 6993. Thank you for this information. You're very welcome. I have a question. Why is the most recent admission date different than what the travel history says? That's a great question. So I'm not sure. It actually should be the same. Well, I mean, the travel history should definitely reflect, all the entries, coming in and out, and then obviously the very last, the most recent admission date should be the most recent on the travel history. So if there is discrepancy between the two, and I'm assuming since you are trying to get your I-94, then you're probably doing something, immigration related, filing the immigration forms. And obviously in those situations, you do want to be accurate with the dates, because a lot of applications, whenever you're filing them, they do ask you for, the most recent admission date. That's one of the probably more important ones. And if you really do see the discrepancy between the two, like for example, the most recent date that is showing separately is different from what it is showing in the travel history, then I would definitely recommend reaching out to the CBP, Customs and Border Protection, and talking to them and asking them about what's going on. Because it might have been that the information in the airport, or whatever, however you were entering the country, whenever you were going through the Customs and Border Protection, it might have been that they didn't enter the information correctly on one of the entries, and now it's not showing up properly. So I would definitely reach out to them to resolve this. Now I do have the most recent video. This actually, the video that you commented on is not the most recent one. I do have more recent one for I-94, and actually how to in that video I talk how to reach out to the CBP. So I would check that video out, and I would definitely reach out to the CBP and see if you can kind of fix that discrepancy between the two pages. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Amanda Bruce 9810. I'm October 17, 2016 F2B. How November reached 2017? Awaiting inter date, bit confused. Okay, so your priority date is in 2016, October 17, 2016, and you're F2B. So let's take a look at the visa bulletin. I'm going to look at the graph A to see the full length, how long we will be waiting for the availability of the immigrant visa, and I will look at the all chargeability area. But if you are in one of separate chargeability areas, China, India, Mexico, Philippines, obviously you're looking at the corresponding column. Okay, so F2B right now is showing September 2015. September 2015, and you are October 2016. So you are roughly about a year away from the availability of the immigrant visa. Hopefully, I mean, it's a rough estimate because, visa bulletin, unfortunately, this November 2023 issue, It had no movement for most everybody, for most of the categories and most of the chargeability areas. There was no movement at all. But it's right now for you, Amanda, it's very, very important to keep checking the visa bulletin, and hopefully we will see the movement. But I can't unfortunately promise anything, because I really don't know. Visa bulletin has been really, really sporadic. A lot of people, including myself, we predicted that, well, didn't predict it, but we were hoping that there will be a good movement in the past few months, basically, because now that we are done with this whole closures and all of that sort of stuff, with all the pandemic and all that, and now finally the immigrant visas are being issued, the US embassies are open, so everybody thought, well, since everything is back to normal, we will see visa bulletin coming back to normal as well. But it doesn't seem to be the case. So I really am not sure what's going on, and the only thing that I can say is just keep checking it. Every month the new one comes out, keep checking it. Okay, let's move on to the next one from MacBZNU8988. Thank you so much for this video. You're very welcome. I just did my biometric for my asylum case some weeks ago. My question is, do I still need to do another biometric for the TPS? Okay, great question. Yes, absolutely. So whenever it comes to biometrics appointment, they are application specific. So if you do have multiple applications going on and you do have the biometric appointment for each separate application, you have to go for each separate biometric appointment. It's very, very important. And I actually seen a case where somebody missed the biometric appointment for one of the applications because they thought, well, I just did it for this application, so it should be the same. No, it's not. It's application specific. So make sure to go to all the biometric appointment notifications that you get. Make sure to go for all of them. Well, in your case, it's going to be both. But the thing is, like with the asylum, for example, they schedule these biometric appointments like every 6 months to every year. So you just keep going for these biometrics appointments, as long as you're waiting, pretty much. Okay, let's move on to the next one from user Li7EW. Hi sir, good day. 2 years not moving for F1. Yeah, 2 years. 2 years now, F1, no movement. It's crazy. It really is crazy. I really am not sure what's going on. We will see. We will keep checking the visa bulletin. But yeah, 2 years now, no movement. And not just F1, a lot of other categories as well. Okay, moving further to Williams Amoranos 115. Sir, I'm a petitioner for my daughter from the Philippines. As of now, I'm permanent resident visa here in US. If I change my status to US citizen, will my petition to my daughter will be faster? Please advise, thanks. Williams, thank you so much for the question. So that's a really, really good question. So we are talking about two different categories. We're talking about the F2A, and we are talking about F1, all right? Well, it depends if you're well, here's the thing. Let me start by saying that it depends on how old your daughter is. Okay? If she is under 21, we should have started there. If she's under 21, as a permanent resident, you will be filing for her. She will be in F2A. And F2A, it does take quite some time. It takes about, as of right now, about 4 years, roughly. Give and take, plus the visa bulletin. We don't even know if it's going to go positive or if it's going to retrogress. We don't know. It's a hit and miss. So yeah. But if she is under 21 and you are petitioning as a citizen, as a US citizen, then she's going to be going as immediate relative, which visa bulletin, you don't even have to worry about visa bulletin whatsoever, because immediate relative, once the I-130 is approved by USCIS, that's it. The immigrant visa is already available. There is no immigrant visa backlog for immediate relatives, okay? Now, if your daughter is over 21, in that case, now we're talking about, if she's unmarried, we are talking about F2B, and we are talking about F1. F2B, unmarried sons and daughters, 21 years of older permanent residents, F1 unmarried sons and daughters of US citizens. Now, most of the times this is really what becomes a dilemma for most people, especially when they start an application as permanent residents and then they become naturalized citizens and they have an option to upgrade it to F1. Well, sometimes it's really not that much of an upgrade. Sometimes it is, sometimes it is not. Like, for example, at the very moment, if you look at the visa bulletin, right now, for F1, it shows January 2015. For F2B, it shows September 2015. So F2B is actually about 8 to 9 months ahead of F1. So permanent residents doing better with their petitions for their unmarried sons and daughters over 21 compared to US citizens, right? But it's a hit and miss again, because there were times where F1 was doing better than F2B. It's always like this. So my recommendation, if she is over 21, if she's over 21, then I would recommend just starting the petition as soon as possible, because they do take a long time regardless, and just that's it. Just just starting the clock basically, because that's the number one most important thing. But if she's under 21 and if your naturalization is close, then if you can become a U.S. citizen in the next few months, 6 months, then I would concentrate on becoming a U.S. citizen first and then filing a petition as a U.S. citizen, so that from the start she's in immediate relative category and you don't have to deal with the visa bulletin and waiting none of this at all right? So there you go. Hopefully you can figure it out, and if you have any questions, always welcome to come back to this channel and ask them in the comments below. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Arya Maleki. Does adding additional documents to AOS section a month before interview bring problems? Great question. Okay, so here's the thing. You might not be able to add any additional documents regardless, even if you want to your portal, because, well, once you are documentarily qualified, it is locked, all right? If you do have any significant updates, what it is better to do, instead of messing with with the portal, instead of doing that, I would recommend having those updated documents, whatever it is, whatever information you had updated, in a separate folder and bringing them to the interview, and then working with the documents that have already been documentarily qualified. And if there are any questions regarding the updates, you have that separate folder with all the updated information, and you can show it, and you can go from there. Unless we are talking about major changes, like, for example, like something, I don't know, like one of the, like a petitioner, let's say petitioner is passed away, for example. Petitioner passed away, then of course that's it's a major change, and that definitely needs to be reported, because then you do need to it's a little bit of a different process. So it really depends on what kind of additional documents, what kind of changes we're talking about. So if you have any additional questions, post them in the comments below, and I'll try to address it in the next volume. And for everyone, if you have any additional questions or follow-up information, for example, that I'm asking for, and you need to provide it, please make sure not to respond to my comment within your comment, because the YouTube does not send me those notifications for some reason. Post it as a separate comment anywhere on this channel, and it will come up on this wall that I have in front of me. Okay, moving further to the next one from Ted Murray 711. Why so long to do an interview? I'm F1, all chargeability priority date 4 March 2015, documentarily qualified in October 2020 from Guyana. The chart at 1 January 2015 for a few months now. Yep, like wait for 3 years now. Yep. Yeah, Ted, unfortunately that's the visa bulletin for you. That's it's been ridiculous. You're March 2015 though, and we are on January 2015. So as of right now, as of November 2023 visa bulletin, you're like 3 months away from the availability of the immigrant visa. Once your priority date becomes current, That's it. You're just waiting for the interview to be scheduled. Problem is having that priority date current, because yes, the visa bulletin has not been moving for a very long time, and I'm sure for people like yourself, it's even more upsetting because you're so close to your priority date being current. 3 months. That is annoying, honestly. That is really annoying. I don't know why it's not moving. I really do not know what's going on with the visa bulletin. A lot of people were waiting for a new fiscal year, this and that, and seeing that there's going to be a good movement. Personally, I thought that it's going to be, starting to move normally again, because, well, everything is back to normal, kind of, somewhat, I guess. Maybe not. I guess not. But yeah, Ted, I'm sorry, but the only thing that really for you can do is keep checking the visa bulletin every single month, and once you see that it is current, that's it. From then on, you're just waiting for the interview to be scheduled. You can give it another couple months after that, after your priority date becomes current, and then reach out to the US Embassy in Guyana and ask them if they scheduled the interview. But as of right now, really, it's unfortunately just the wait game. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Adam Barry, 620, priority date June 2018 and documentarily qualified October 2022. Green card holder, F2A visa category, when expected to get an interview date, Senegal, Dakar. Thanks. Adam, you're welcome. Thank you for asking the question. So, okay, your priority date in June 2018 and the Senegal, Dakar. So, F2A, let's take a look at the F2A and see what's going on for F2A. You're June 2018. So F2A, you have been current already for about June, 6 months, about 6, 7, 8 months, roughly. You have been current. So I'm thinking your interview might have been already scheduled. You're just waiting to find out when the interview was scheduled for. And the thing is, here's the weird thing about these interviews, right? When they schedule these interviews, they don't notify you that your interview has been scheduled. Unfortunately, you're sitting and waiting up until 30 days before the actual interview was scheduled. So let's say if your interview has been scheduled for December 1st, 2023, you're not going to find out up until November 1st, 2023, 30 days before the interview. And that's most of the cases. In very rare cases, they do 60 days, but most of the times it is 30 days. And they do that so that you have 30 days to do your medical examination. It's annoying because, people wait for 6 months, a year and a half, not knowing when their interview is scheduled for. And then 30 days, there's like, bam, there you go, interview. 30 days, you have 30 days to do So instead, they could have told you, oh yeah, we scheduled it in 6 months. Do your medical examination closer, But that's not how it is, unfortunately. So, with that being said, Adam, what you can do is you can actually call the U.S. Embassy. You can find I'm sure you already know which U.S. Embassy you will be going to for an interview. Give them a call and explain the situation. Say that your immigrant visa should already be available because your priority date has been current now for over 6 months, and ask them, say, hey, I just wanted to find out when my interview was scheduled for. It's worth a shot. Sometimes they don't give you that information. Most of the times they say we can't give you that information, but it is worth the shot because they can look into their system and it's unofficial. It's not like they're officially scheduling the interview for you because it has been already scheduled. If it is, they'll just look into it and say, okay, it was scheduled for this and that, and you will get your notice closer to it, obviously. So give it a shot, and if it works, well, great, you're gonna know when your interview is, but it should be, not too far from now, because like I said, you have been current now for over 6 months, so I'm pretty sure it's already scheduled. Okay, let's do the very last question comment for today from Bawi Bigthaunga 4437. Hello, could you please inform us how to fill out the applications online? Okay, so all of the applications online, whenever it comes to the applications online, and you're asking it on I-589, application for asylum, make sure you're doing it through official government website, USCIS. You can find the link in the video description for the I-589, but I'm gonna find it here. I'm gonna go to forms, all forms. Now, whenever it comes to the asylum applications, they actually do have a little bit of a strange process to file online. You actually have to go through this filing instructions tool. And once you go through that, it will ask you a few questions. Are you physically present in USA? Obviously, it has to be yes, because to file the asylum, you have to be in the US. Are you a citizen? Obviously no, because if you are a US citizen, what's the point of filing the application for asylum, right? Have you been issued an alien number? Yes, no. If you have previous USCIS applications, then probably yes, but most likely it's going to be no if it's a brand new application. And there you go. You will have two options to file by mail, which is what I'm explaining, and then file online. Now, the reason why I cannot show the actual online application is because in order to start the online application, you actually have to create a legitimate USCIS online account with the real information, obviously, because you will be filling out the application there. And there is no option to create a fake account for me to show, because you are actually starting an application, you're actually uploading the documents, and you cannot go past certain points unless you put in the actual information. But the information that is asked in the online application is pretty much exactly the same. A few wording might be different that is asked on the paper application, which is the PDF file that I'm showing in the video. So if you go along with that video that I have on the asylum application while filling out the online application, you will do just fine. And thing is, whenever it comes to online applications, they are much simpler than paper applications, because in paper applications you can make, there's a lot more potential for mistakes in paper applications. So that's really it. Pretty straightforward. So thank you very much everyone for asking your questions today. Hopefully my answers were helpful. Sorry if I wasn't able to get on time to your comment. Hopefully in the next few videos I will be able to get into it. I've been getting more and more comments. So it's starting to become a little bit hard to catch up with all of the comments, but I will keep working and I'll keep doing my best. So again, thank you very much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.